Hey guys, Level Cap here, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly news recap on everything going on in the world of video games. This week we got another major leak for the next Battlefield game. Bungie's Marathon Alpha went live to mixed impressions, Bethesda launched a major new release out of the blue, and much more. Patch notes leaked for a recent update to the Battlefield Labs playtest, revealing some really interesting features. Probably the biggest item in this list is the confirmation that the game will have a test range players can test out their weapons in. It's also accessible through the game's weapon customization menu. Longtime Battlefield enjoyers have been asking for a good test range to return to the franchise since Battlefield 4 offered a fairly decent one. Most games now offer some pretty awesome test ranges that are super quick and easy to get into when you're modifying your weapon. Hopefully whatever's planned for the next Battlefield game will also include vehicles to test out as well. Nothing more annoying than trying to learn how to fly in a multiplayer match. In terms of gameplay features that are leaking, apparently incendiary grenades can be extinguished by water or smoke elements. This could be a pretty cool feature, and it makes me wonder if there's going to be fire extinguishers inside of buildings that spray water down from the ceilings, or other mechanics that add water onto a map, such as dynamic weather, that might affect these gadgets. The final notable bit of the patch notes is that the anti-tank launchers have been given a backblast effect. It's unclear if this will damage teammates, but it's been given a damage value, so you could potentially kill an enemy by backblasting them, which sounds pretty funny, especially somebody sneaking out for a knife kill ends up getting killed by the backblast of a rocket. Now, all that said, this info comes from leaked patch notes from a pre-alpha playtest. Things are likely going to change. Given the bugs and other issues that have been addressed, though, it looks like DICE made the right decision to open up testing so early before the game launches. There's some pretty big issues fixed with this update, and it sounds like DICE are really taking advantage of all the player feedback. The Marathon Alpha is live, and first impressions span the gamut from "why is this a thing" to "Bungie have done it again." Now, we've got game journalists, content creators, and average players all weighing in on the debate, and the responses are incredibly mixed. Many are critical of the game's flat visuals that tend to make cinematics look cool with some of the extra shading and lighting detail, but for actual gameplay, it looks quite bland. It also appears that there is heavy aim assist on PC, intended to make mouse and keyboard players more fairly matched with overbearing controller aim assist. On PC, the game has an option that's on by default called aim magnetism. It works in a similar way to Halo Infinite's, with the game making your aim stickier when over an enemy character model. Some reviewers have gone as far as to call it aimbot levels of aim assist. Personally, I think if this is Bungie's best solution to balancing out PC versus console aim assist and skill parity, then they've got a pretty big problem on their hands. Aim assist on PC is like kryptonite for competitive PC gamers. Now, on the opposite side of this, reviewers are praising the game's building interior design as something that lives up to the vibrant history of the franchise with its bold colors and interesting set dressing element. The AI enemies roaming the map are actually a threat and create a dynamic that encourages killing them to avoid getting essentially third-partied by NPCs during a fight with other players. Reviewers are also saying that the faction system is a bright spot since it gives you a sense of progress even when you fail in extraction. Factions offer lore and permanent upgrades to the care packages that drop during a match. Overall, the impressions people seem to have of Marathon is a general sense of concern. Bungie's legacy of talent for crafting interesting worlds and fun gameplay mechanics seems to be thrown toward a run-of-the-mill trend-chasing project that doesn't do enough to differentiate itself from the crowd. It also doesn't seem to be particularly appealing to their current fan base of Destiny players, which, makes sense. They don't want to pull fans away from their current titles, but it's one more challenge ahead of them. That said, this is all early gameplay. Bungie does have time to make meaningful changes before a full release of the game. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how far they can push the graphics styling since they seem to be fully committed to it, and it's an unfortunately divisive element of the game. Considering that there's other extraction shooters like Arc Raiders being developed on a similar timeline to Marathon that have a visual style that seems to be much more popular and appreciated, it is certainly concerning for the future of Marathon, but we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of popular extraction shooters, Escape from Tarkov might finally be exiting its beta phase. You heard that right, the world's most successful extraction shooter isn't even considered finished by its developers. The good news is, Battlestate Games recently announced the game is getting 3 major updates starting in May with balance changes, visual optimizations, and a new event. The second update will improve the game's audio engine and AI quality. Finally, in July, there will be an overhaul to gunshot sound effects plus a second event. Then, at some point in the summer, the game will officially launch its 1.0 release. It'll also launch on Steam, making the game more accessible to a wider PC gaming community. Delta Force just got a major update that adds a new night combat mode. This offers a handful of the game's warfare and operations maps that have been updated to a nighttime setting. Finally, a decent use for some of those night vision optics, but mainly they just introduced some nice variety overall. The update also includes a new stealth operator, a new assault rifle, a new double-barrel shotgun that offers Dragon's Breath incendiary rounds, a new leaderboard system, a new tank vehicle, and a proper kill cam. Bethesda's official remaster of The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion is doing the numbers. Leaks and rumors about the remaster reached a fever pitch last week, and Bethesda dropped the game on Tuesday at the same time it was officially announced. This led to a tidal wave of interest, with the game launching with over 100,000 concurrent players on Steam alone. The game is certainly an achievement, as it looks both stunning and retains the core identity of the original title. Bethesda even went the extra mile to ensure bugs and production issues from the first game were present in the remaster. Infamously flubbed lines from the voice actors, glitches that players can exploit to beat the game in about 15 minutes, and more are all present. Unfortunately, the game didn't ship with official modding tools, though that won't stop the community, which has already created hundreds of mods with more on the way. Bethesda also officially confirmed that they won't be pursuing shutdowns of competing remaster projects like Skyblivium. This is a big win for those modders, and also maybe a lesson for other companies that really love shutting down their fan projects. Pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 brought online retailers to the breaking point this week. Many sites struggled to keep up with demand, throwing up errors and making the ordering process generally unpredictable. The good news is, it seems like most of the people interested in pre-ordering got a chance, and more opportunities will be available before the official launch on June 5th. The initial wave of pre-orders was exclusive to a handful of retailers like Walmart, Best Buy, and Target. The second wave started yesterday with GameStop opening up pre-orders. Nintendo's own online store will be skipping pre-orders and is only offering a purchase option on launch day. In our final story this week, the creators of historical World War II tactical FPS Hell Let Loose officially revealed gameplay of their next project, the Napoleon-era historical PvPvE extraction RPG Hunger. And if you're familiar with the title Hunt Showdown, the trailer for Hunger certainly has some similar notes. The game features a lot of historical guns like muskets, pistols, and cannons, but it also features a lot of guns that look like fictional concepts of weapons from that era. Hunger also has a big emphasis on melee combat with swords and battle axes that have a block and attack mechanic. There's also a deep inventory of gadgets. Visually, the game truly looks impressive. One of the standout things with this developer is their commitment to detail and authenticity, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of crazy alternate history they can create around this style. There's clearly some fantasy elements at play, featuring mutated people and animals as enemies. Hunger doesn't have a release date, but will launch on Steam in early access with a predicted 2-year development period before releasing its retail build. Now, if you guys are enjoying this weekly gaming news show, don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe for more content like it. Up next, check out the latest devlog for Seabeams, a spaceship game that I'm working on. It's given me a huge perspective into the world of game development, and let me tell you, it ain't easy, but man, is it fun. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.